What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Retro, and welcome back to another video or podcast of Chaos Theory. Now this is a different format of a video. We have a special guest, and typically I didn't really think that we were gonna have one anytime soon. Um, and yeah, bro, this is my good friend Joey. He makes Christian-like content on TikTok. We've been discussing wrestling for a very, very long time. He's I would say avid WWE hater. Um,
I wouldn't say I don't. I just don't like who runs it.
well, yeah, I disagree on that aspect too, and he is an AEW supporter to the bone. Right? He loves that company. He watches every pay
And
per view.
I tried to. I did miss the last pay per view for Slammiversary. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing well. Happy 4th of July. It's been a crazy week in wrestling. We did finish Slammiversary. We also had Forbidden Door. That was very exciting. Can you believe Osprey finally got the job done and took out
Mm-hmm.
Swerve Strickland?
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
That was a
yeah, it was awesome. My bad for interrupting you, but yeah, it was very awesome. Like I didn't think Osprey, because Osprey's never really beaten Swerve before that, so it was kind of a thing where you had a lot of expectations for these two. There was no world championship on the line. There were bigger stakes and stuff like that. So I want to get your opinion. How do you feel about like Kenny Omega beating MJF?
Oh, I 100% don't really agree on that booking decision. I think it's good for like the baby face aspect, but like I think it kind of just put a nail in MJF's heel run because he was the bad guy. He comes up, he beats Darby Allin, kind of smack talks Mick Foley, knocks Darby Allin off. I thought his run would be the guy that I thought was going to beat him would probably be Will Ospreay at All In London. I thought they would have MJF hold the title. I don't hate the decision, but I didn't think Tony would go there. Um, but other than that, I liked pretty much all the rest of the results of Forbidden Door. I thought it was a very exciting pay per view, and there was a lot going on, and that's what I like is how Tony, when you're competing with the company that's been running wrestling for 30 years, you gotta make a splash, and that's what I think he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the main thing that I've been disagreeing with since day one is the counter programming. Now, I do understand, granted, that, it's a competition. It's two companies that really despise each other in such a way where, well, they don't despise each other. WWE really despises them. Um, they despise each other. They despise them in such a way where they have to counter program every single pay per view they have. And
Mm.
I feel like it's not even necessarily like WWE itself. It's TKO, and they just want people's money, right? They want a problem to be caused. So I would
Oh
like your
yeah, and that
opinion. My bad. I would just like your opinion about like how you know kind of weird and skeptical that is.
I think it's kind of bad because TKO is this big bad company. They don't want competition because think about it, your contract's up. Where you're going? If TNA can't afford you, which we'll get into it later. TNA had an okay pay per view, ladies and gentlemen. But it's just tough because now they know that they have somewhere that they can go. Your travel's paid for, hotels covered. The only downplay if you're like a wrestler is WWE is just demolishing you and the action figure manufacturer because they had like 30 years to figure it out and they probably have the best distributor, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, video game rights. I know AEW made Fight Forever. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's no 2K. 2K really crushed it out of the park with 26, and I think it's really tough. Where when you're trying to compete, you can afford all the wrestlers you want, but it's tough because some guys probably want the video game rights and the action figures. But other than that, where else would you want to be? You get to keep your name and your rights because when you sign a contract with WWE, your name 95% of the time switches to something else, and if it's Triple H's way or the highway. And I see a lot of wrestlers that kill it on the independent scene. They go in, they do the NXT stuff, it's okay, and then they never reach the full potential they could. Like if you look at LA Knight, for example, when he was Eli Drake, he was destroying TNA. He was going through, he was the guy, he was like, Eli Drake, yeah, was over. LA Knight is over on like the WWE side, but like they push him to the championship match, but he's kind of like the nowadays of Dolph Ziggler. He goes out there, you're supposed to lose. You go out there, put on a really good classic, kind of mess with us to maybe think he's going to win, and then up something happens and he loses. And I think it's very, very tough when you can go over to AEW and probably keep your original name and probably get pushed to the max, get an AEW title run, or at least a TNT championship run, and get everything paid for, more day off. I just think because I like the WWE, ladies and gentlemen. It used to be how it used to be, like from the mid '90s to like about like 20, like I'd say 2017. They were doing a good job. Especially remember that 9.99 WWE Network. That
Yeah.
used to be beautiful. Used to be great, but I also don't like how they're buying like TNA. I liked it because it saved it, but now I just feel like it kind of like watered it down. Like how like when WWE bought ECW
Yeah.
and it just wasn't the same anymore. And I think that's the problem with what WWE is doing and ticket prices and everything. And now you got to have when you buy the new 2K, you have to unlock a battle pass. It's kind of like it gets that Fortnite feeling or Apex feeling where, okay, I spent the money, but you want me to grind for these characters now instead of, okay, you spent the money, you now have your characters that you.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Well, that's you. You can keep going.
it's been crazy, like over the last couple years, how WWE's running. And what do you think about Sami Zayn's big win on Saturday night?
Oh, I'm glad you asked me that. Now I made a video like kind of expressing my opinion about this, and like I said, I'm not mad at the fact that Sami Zayn won. I mean, it's a long overdue. Like he truly has been true to himself, despite all the little character developments he's had with the last real good guy stuff and talking to Johnny Gargano, who's a sitting plank 24/7. Um, I definitely feel like he deserves it, but if we're
It
talking
looks a
about,
little fishy.
say it again.
It looks a little fishy because look, and I don't want to get political or anything, but look where the pay per view was
Yeah.
and what Sami Zayn aligns with. And I have nothing against Sami Zayn, but I think they did it because TKO has big deals with Saudi Arabia. And you know what religion Saudi Arabia follows.
Mm.
And Sami Zayn follows that too. I think they kind of know that he's a good worker. He's good. I think they kind of just gave him a home run just to make the people in Saudi and like the Middle Eastern part of the world happy. I think he deserves the title. I just don't like. I think they just purposely set it up because where the pay per view was. You can disagree with me or agree with me not, but when I saw it and I was like, good for him, and then I looked at where it was, I was like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And like I would say that I feel like Sami Zayn's gonna lose it on Monday, right? And I say this
Oh,
because
100%.
and I say this because I feel like Sammy and a lot of other people who used to work for the company do have the curse of being a good worker. JBL already touched on this. Like, you're such
Oh
a
yeah.
good worker to a point where like they know you're never gonna say no to anything. Like they'll throw money in your face, they'll lower your value, they'll put you in a match where you get squashed. Like being a good
Hmm.
worker, like you've seen it with Karrion Cross, which is kind of funny because
Yep.
what everything's transpiring with Sami Zayn and his potential little heel thing going on after the fact. But yeah, it happened to Karrion Cross, Dolph Ziggler, the New Day. Like
Oh yeah.
it's just a
It,
whole spiel.
it sucks. And look at Kofi Kingston. He had to leave when you could have. I like what they did with Xavier Woods. Biggie was injured. I think they should have made Kofi Kingston turn heel on Kofi and they could have made a lot of money if they just let Kofi Kingston do what he was doing since 2009 to mid 2014. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what
Go
you're
out
saying.
there, but they killed a lot of characters in it. I have nothing against the WWE personally. I used to, that's what got me into love the wrestler, but I don't like so much of the sponsors. I don't like who runs it. I don't like that WrestleMania 43 is going to be in a country that I don't agree with their beliefs at all. So now you're taking it away from like the North American people. Because let's be honest, a lot of Canadian Americans spend big money to fly out wherever it is to go see WrestleMania, and now you kind of just destroyed this American, like Canadian themed pay per view and destroyed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like, let's not get mad at this guy in the comments, man. Like, this guy's a fellow Christian, and people are entitled to their own beliefs. Now, me personally, I don't have a problem with, Muslim people in that sense, but I
Neither
am,
do I.
yeah, I'm a Christian myself, and we respect every single religion, but like, it's more so with me, like the tradition of like WrestleMania. Like, I would like to have it in a place where, you know
It
It's it,
belongs.
it belongs. Like, no offense to Saudi Arabia, I love Saudi Arabia. There are people who watch my videos in Saudi Arabia, but the thing with me
Yeah.
is that like WrestleMania was originally supposed to be in New Orleans this year, and
Oh yeah.
I was very very upset because if you don't know and the viewers don't know, I am from Louisiana, and it
That
kind
would
of
have
was
been like a
heartbreaking.
nice little day trip there that, Triple H was like, we're gonna take it away from you.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, we have no problem with the religion of like Muslim people and Saudi Arabia people. We just like our core American like WrestleMania tradition like fans, right? We enjoy the
Yeah.
show, and not to mention we have to wake up early in the morning to see the Saudi Arabia WrestleMania show, and so it's a difference of opinion. And please don't say anything weird in the comments, please. But yeah, I do have a question for you. What do you think about the SummerSlam matches so far?
I think it's okay. I don't think they're gonna do as well as I think they want to. I think some of the booking decision, like I don't know if it's TKO or Triple H, which I'm 50-50 on Triple H. I think he's nice, but I see on like the Netflix originals, he's kind of mean to some of the writers. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
And this is just what we see on television. I know I'm not there sitting in the locker room talking to Triple H every Monday and Friday, but I think I just don't know how I feel on how he books and makes decisions, and I don't know if it's TKO being like, "Sorry, you can't do that." But I'm not gonna lie, I think it's definitely going to be an okay pay per view. I don't think it's going to be the worst SummerSlam of all time, but I don't think it's something that I'm gonna want to tune into 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with the different subscriptions you got to pay for, ESPN and like Netflix. It's just TKO is just trying to take all your money. I am excited to, maybe watch a match or two, but I don't think the whole pay per view is something that's, in my opinion, eye appealing compared to the other companies and what they're doing. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely too. And I feel like the match choice, well, SummerSlam specifically, like I do agree with Roman versus Seth. I'm very excited for that. Oba versus Brock in Hell in a Cell. Now, do I agree with the fact that they had to take Oba's title shot in order to get that match? No, because
That
there
would
were
be
a lot
good.
of people there were a lot of people that had said Oba could have wrestled on both nights of SummerSlam, where he could have fought Brock one
Yeah,
night and fought the champion the other, or they would have had Brock Lesnar squash Sami Zayn and Oba fight him at SummerSlam and beat Brock Lesnar for the Undisputed Championship. And so those were like really good ideas, but I think like having Oba win King of the Ring and just like not have him fight the person he's supposed to fight at, SummerSlam is kind of wrong. But I do understand what Oba did say. Oba is the future. He's what, 27 years old, and
yeah, he's definitely the face that's gonna run the place. I think he's the
yeah,
next. Them wanting him to be the next Brock Lesnar, and then the
absolutely.
only way to do that, I guess, is have him beat him twice. Which I'm like, you already beat him at WrestleMania. I think he needs to squash the big dog, Roman. I think that's the thing that he needs to do, or at least have a classic and win a title. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't agree with him squashing him, but definitely it's in the the mindset of everybody. And I
Well,
also feel like that like what was I gonna say? I feel like Brock Lesnar should retire after this match. 10,000%.
oh, I think that was the plan. I thought at WrestleMania he was done. He took his boots. I know Mark Henry back in 2013 did a false retirement, and he had a classic with John Cena. But I say throw up the boots, dude. You got a lot of pins and needles and rods in you, and I respect Brock Lesnar. You know what he did in WWE, the UFC. Some of you guys at home probably forgot about his New Japan run, but he's a very great athlete. And sometimes it sucks, but you got to throw it up there. And it's very, very crazy that he's been able to do like wrestling in the UFC for all those years. And I think, you know, you got your video game rights back, brother. Why not just take a video game deal with WWE and just live your life, you know?
Yeah. And now now here we are with the debate topic of everything. So obviously you are pro AEW, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now I know now for the viewers, like he said, he doesn't hate WWE. Like he grew up watching it just like I did. And but I still feel like WWE kind of like tops AEW in the aspect of storylines, and I feel like it tops them in the aspect of, you know, development of like stars. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to know
I,
your opinion about where AEW does top WWE.
I think they have more interesting pay-per-views. I feel like they have more to do and less commercial breaks. Let's be honest, it's very hard to watch Monday Night Raw, and I don't like the one thing how WWE's always going to win in the ratings because I think there's a little tribalism, and there's nothing wrong with it. I get you like what you like, but eventually it's going to get so bad that you guys are not going to be able to agree with WWE because the booking decisions, the commercial breaks, the merchandise kind of some of those t-shirts they print. I'm like, who's making these t-shirts? They're bad.
Right.
Like I know Fanatics is, but like, why would you design that T-shirt for R-Truth if it makes no sense? No one's gonna buy that. It's just crazy how some people are a little tribalist, but I think AEW's got a lot going on. I think they should get a. I know that right now they have an app for ROH. They got a lot of great talent developed. I know some people say Ring of Honor is not the same as what it used to be, but there's still a lot of good talent, ladies and gentlemen, on that ROH roster that I feel like you guys would like to see. And there's some talent that I feel like could get a little more of a push. Like I wish the Frat House got a push. Like at the end of the day, they look like a good group that just sits down, drinks beer, but they get squashed every night. I wish they didn't. Maybe get a couple wins, but I think the whole group, the whole roster's good. I think they have good TV deals. I think they have good booking decisions in AEW. But the one company I don't know that's fallen apart that I hear a lot of rumors about is TNA. Did you see Mike Santana after he was supposed to lose to Nick Nemeth? He did. That was a classic, ladies and gentlemen. Probably one of the best matches of the night at Slammiversary.
I'm actually glad you
I
brought that
heard
up. I'm sorry for
I heard he
interrupting you.
left. I heard he's leaving, and it looks like him, Leon Slater. How do you feel that TNA is like in the dark sheets, quote unquote, broke? How does that make you feel? Are
Okay,
you a big TNA fan?
I'm glad you asked that. Here's a fact. I hate TNA, and let me tell you why. All right, so there was some bad business on like my side of things with TNA, and I will get into that in a second. But let's get into the releases, right? Now, I did talk about the Tessa Blanchard release, but I didn't talk about the Eric Young and Mike Santana's contract coming up this week. I believe that's what it is. Um and I feel like all of this is not just happening on accident, right? People don't want anything to do with that company. They are pulling talent from shows. They are pulling
Mm.
they are taking opportunities away from other superstars all because a wrestler that they don't like are on that show. And it's just I don't support them. Like, mind you, there were times where I did support TNA. Like, they had their biggest Slammiversary ever last year. And they had Trick Williams main eventing. They had, Trick Williams as champion also. And I supported them. I got a lot of likes on the video. I fully supported them because I didn't see TNA do numbers like that in forever. And so did anybody. And so it's just the way they do business is bad, and now people are kind of seeing it and want nothing to do with that company. And anybody who does support, no offense to you, but anybody who does support the company at this point forward, it's just I don't know what to tell you, right? Because without WWE, where would TNA be? What would they do?
Nothing. And I think a lot of fans like me at home are kind of praying because the classics like Kurt Angle and all these beautiful matches they had. Jeff Hardy, which he did have a good one. Nick Nemeth trying to save it. I'm thinking that they should have. We're hoping for someone that can get a good deal and leave and be able to sign stars. I know Tony Khan's not interested because you'd have to pay, Triple H and like TKO to have the rights to it, and they got so many companies with the pipeline with them. But I have a couple friends saying if Vince McMahon would buy it, because there's rumors. I don't know if it's true, ladies and gentlemen. Take this with a grain of salt. They said the only way TNA would be saved, and this is like a 2.5% chance of this happening, if Vince McMahon bought the company. I don't know how that would work or how he would, but there were so many legends that I loved in TNA, and I know you probably liked them so much too. Kurt Angle, AJ Styles,
Absolutely,
Beer Money, Ron Killens before
absolutely.
R-Truth when he got cut from being K-Quick. There were so many good legends, and there's so much more. Christopher Daniels, Jeff Hardy that's still there. And it used to be so great that we're just hoping for that nostalgia. And now I watched Slammiversary. I was a little disappointed in the X Division match. Cedric Alexander, good superstar, came in 10 minutes. It was uneventful. It was probably the worst X Division match at Slammiversary ever. I just didn't think it was that good. I was a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and let me talk about that for a second. Let me talk about another thing for with TNA. It's the fact that I feel like it's a bit of a has been company. Well, I say this because they don't do anything different from what AEW does at times, right? They
Mhm.
they would hire somebody who got fired or released, got their contract expired from WWE, and then they would put them in this spotlight to where they're in a championship scene, sometimes winning those championships and trying to pop a rating or prove that they're just as better and more generous than WWE, all because they gave them a championship or some sort of spotlight. Now, granted, there were some times where they deserved it. Do I feel like they kind of messed over, like did things that were kind of messed up the Dolph Ziggler? Yes. Cedric Alexander, yes. But my point being is that it's a complete has-been company. They give championships to people who are barely on their last knuckle when it comes to wrestling. Like Cedric Alexander did not have to beat Leon Slater when they could have had Leon Slater break the record for being the longest reigning TNA X Division champion of all time. Knowing
Well, I
that
heard his contract is gonna expire.
WWE's for sure gonna grab him, but I would say that I don't like companies who specifically just sign other superstars that were fired, released, or contracts expired from WWE just so they can have them win championships and have them lose them the very next week like they did Tommaso Ciampa in AEW. Like, it's a very weird transaction. It's a very weird negotiation. Like, if you're gonna make somebody a star, make them a proper star instead of just popping a rating and proving that you're more generous than the other company that released them.
Oh yeah, I saw. But they did have Apollo Cruz at Slammiversary.
Yeah,
Musa Ali, the ex. He used to be in WWE. He's the current international champion.
yeah,
I know he wrestled. Apollo Cruz switched his name and wrestled. I know Apollo Cruz lost, but the rumors were they were going to have him be the mystery opponent and went over. He was the mystery opponent. He just lost. And I see what you're doing because if you look at TNA, it's just all ex WWE fired. You have Fandango with a different name following around Moose, which I think that could be a good tag team.
yeah.
Moose and Fandango. which Moose had a good match last Sunday. But I think a lot of things, TNA's just going downhill and they don't have the right booking and they got weird heels. I don't know if you watched last Thursday's episode of Impact. They got this guy named Mr. Elegant that just kind of has like oil on him and just,
Yeah,
kind of looks like an elegant, like muscle bodybuilder.
yeah,
And he
guys, lost
hasn't
touch.
lost
Yeah,
in he hasn't lost in singles competition. Like I thought they were going to push him for the X Division title on last Sunday, but it was weird. He was just some guy that like I've never seen before that they're just pushing. You know how like they kind of like years ago WWE took like, and this is no shade at Mason Ryan, he was a good wrestler when it came to working. Um, he kind of looked like Batista, and you know how they just kind of threw him out there and he started winning singles competition, but the fans didn't really gravitate to him. That's
yeah,
what I think TNA is trying to do with this Mr. Elegant character. And I think they're probably going to push him to a very low mid card title that's going to fizzle out.
yeah. But I'm not trying to make this like a TNA interview for you. Like, I don't really like that company. Um, but yeah, I mean, shout out to all the people who are doing good there. I wish them the best and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to make this a completely TNA thing. But thank you for bringing that up because I really did want to talk about that. Um,
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to talk about what's going around all the companies, but I am excited for the next big AEW pay per view. That's going to be exciting.
yeah, AEW
A
All
lot of
In.
great.
Yeah,
Oh, that's going to be exciting. Did you see Christian Cage and Adam Copeland retain their titles?
yeah, and I also seen Jay White return. Now that was what kind of like got me excited. That kind of got me everything because like we had been waiting for Jay White for the
For a
longest
while?
time. Like what was it, 14 months? We had been waiting for
Hmm.
that guy. Like he had been tweeting like ready with question marks like 24, well not 24/7, like every single pay per view. And I would be the first time he did it, I was excited because like Jay White, you've been out for more than a year, and you know it was kind of messed up what happened to him. And I really do wish, I hope that like he gets some type of redemption against John Moxley, and pun intended by
Hmm.
the way. Um, because AEW Redemption is actually this month, and
Oh, that is exciting.
I was hoping that like Kenny Omega would probably beat MJF on this pay per view for the world championship, but it turns out Kenny is probably gonna beat him next week, and I feel like AEW Redemption is the perfect PLE, no not PLE, pay per view to for him to beat John Moxley because John Moxley is somebody where it's like he is the sole reason why Jay White got injured in the first place, and I feel like
Oh yeah, 100%.
now with the aspect of the Death Riders teaming up with the War Dogs and Jay White came back fighting what's his name, David Finley. I feel like
Oh
he's
yeah.
definitely a good
Oh,
aspect. Yeah.
the dogs are a very interesting tag team. I don't know if one of those that's Finley's kid or its nephew, but it's a good group. I know they lost to Team Rated R, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage at the last pay per view. But I could see this tag team being the next big thing for AEW. I think it was a slam dunk, and I think they should slowly build this team up to do what they can do because these guys look like good in ring workers and they look like a nice heel group. But I feel like AEW has a lot of good um in ring groups, but I think it's going to be an AEW hot take. I think they should squash the Costco guys. And I don't know how you feel about them. They're mostly a TikTok, YouTube personality, but Big AJ can wrestle. I think he should squash him and TQ Marshall to really build them up because these guys are just cool guys that are like very entertaining, and I think it'd be perfect to squash them to really show that they're heel. Team Boom and Doom are they're a babyface team.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice for the dogs to really show that they're bad guys, that they beat up these internet personalities, and show a point because they already showed a point by ruining the 5 second pose, the dynamite before Forbidden Door, which they ended up unsuccessful. But that's how I would rebook them to build themselves back up for the tag titles.
Yeah, and I can't really blame AEW. I can't really shame them for having like TikTok guys on there, but I can, because on the same token I do have to make fun of WWE for having Jelly Roll in the main event of WrestleMania, and having the YouTuber who shall not be named in the Vision. I just, there's a lot of things that I disagree with in terms of
Oh,
that, because I mean, y'all know who I'm talking about when it comes to the YouTuber who shall not be named. And
yes.
I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't think he belongs there. I do wish him a speedy recovery. I don't wish
Mm,
injury on nobody. And truth be told, I don't like talking about him. But like, I mean, he is somebody where it's like, how can I say it? Because I knew him before he signed with the company, and he's not like the greatest person to do business with. But mm, subtract him. Back to what I was originally talking about. Do I think Jelly Roll should be in the main event of WrestleMania? Do I think Lil Yachty should be walking around Trick Williams 24/7 and dancing and parading with him
no.
24/7 and doing his stupid entrance that he did at WrestleMania? Like, no. It's unnecessary. And he's just doing it to revive his
Yeah.
absolutely dog shit music career. Excuse my language,
Yeah.
but
I agree. Just because Swerve Strickland can have Prince Nana dancing doesn't mean you need someone there dancing with you.
that's a good point. Um
It works. It works for Swerve, but it doesn't work for anybody else. But did you see the new rookie on NXT that jumped through the crowd? This Mason Rook guy. How do you feel about him?
Oh man, we got off to a bad start when it came to him because I called him a lot of names. I called him a lot of
Did
names. Yeah.
I don't think he can do a working clothesline. I was watching how Maven was breaking down his, Mason Rook getting into the business, and I'm no wrestler myself, so I can't pick on Mason Rook too bad. I respect he made it to NXT, to develop, and I know it's a developmental brand. But the match I saw, I was like, geez, dude, you missed that. You're supposed to look big and strong, and I feel like they kind of destroyed his character a little bit, not to look big and strong. And they kind of threw him in a match for the opportunity for the NXT championship on his debut. Yes, I think he deserved to lose it. But if you're trying to build someone up to be big and strong on television, you shouldn't just throw him out there and be like, all right, you're going to get an NXT championship opportunity. If you win, you get the opportunity for the title. All right, you go out there, you're going to look okay, and then you're going to lose. I thought that was a head scratcher. I was scratching my head. And I don't really watch NXT because not that I have nothing against it, but I want to watch. Not saying these men and women aren't established stars, but they're people that are still learning.
Right.
Other than the people that are crushing in the independents, you got guys that play D3 baseball that just was like, sure, I'm not going to the MLB, so why not try out for WWE, which I respect that. But I don't know where they found this Mason Rook kid. I'm not doubting him against his career, but he just doesn't look like a wrestler.
Great. I'm glad you said that. And now mind you, did I get hammered on social media for making fun of him? Yeah, I did. And look at my TikTok comments. I got hammered all over the place. And the reason for that being was because I thought he was just a fan. I didn't know who he was. And then it turns out that people were searching up on social media who he was, because he was originally Will Cruz. And when he got that endorsement from John Cena on Twitter, that's when I'm like, okay, this guy's the real deal. And so I did some more research myself. And mind you, if you get an endorsement from John Cena, we basically cousins at this point. So it's like, yeah, the John Cena, he my uncle and everything. You know what I'm saying? Um, so what I'm saying is, it's basically like Mason Rook. I did apologize for what I said about him, but at the same time, it's just like
Mhm.
my judgment kind of stands the same. Like doing a moonsault,
I
it's not
agree.
impressive. It's not all that impressive. But no shade to Mason Rook though. Like he is a very talented guy,
I hope he develops.
and I really do hope that he
I
gets
hope
the
he
opportunity he
develops.
deserves.
Hopefully he gets right the good writers and maybe Shawn Michaels fix him. But I don't know if Shawn Michaels, you know how Shawn Michaels is.
Yeah.
He if he doesn't like you, you're done. If he likes you, he'll catapult you. Because
Right.
I don't know, I've never hung out with Shawn Michaels, but I do watch the Stevie Richards podcast, and it seems like Shawn Michaels is a hit or miss, nice guy or mean. He could be a nice guy or he could be a mean guy. So let's see what Shawn Michaels does. I think he failed at making him look big and strong his first couple matches, but let's see if he can cook something up. Nothing personal against the Heartbreak Kid, but I just sometimes don't like his decisions either on certain stars. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But how did you feel about Kendall Gray winning the NXT Women's Championship?
I did read about that. I think it's not a bad move. I think she'll be okay. I think I think she'll be okay. I see her elevating to a decent mid card role on the main roster soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe can elevate yourself to the main event, but it's a stacked thing. You know what I'm really excited for is I heard rumors Bailey's contract's up, and it looks like Mercedes Monet wants her to come over to AEW,
Yeah, that'd be
and
awesome. Yeah.
get, they would actually use it because the problem with WWE is you don't know what to do with your veterans wrestlers that have been doing 15, 20 years. I get you want to be the future, but your big stars, can deliver. You know they can still work. It's like you don't know what to do with Randy Orton. The Miz is just like go out there and just job. I know you used to be a 7-time Intercontinental Champion and 2-time WWE Champion, but your job is to lose every weekend. So I was like, oh. And then it's tough to watch because Rey Mysterio gets a win or a loss here and there. You'll maybe catapult them to being close to getting a championship opportunity, and then you're like, mm-hmm. And it's like Rey Mysterio's career is going to be over soon. Just throw the belts on him for everybody can be happy and show respect towards your veteran wrestlers. Because you got to think about it. What is WWE going to do when Sheamus, The Miz, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio? I might be missing out a few other guys that have been doing it pretty long. Cody Rhodes, when those guys retire, what are you going to do? I get you want to build up your new stars because you know that's happening soon, but use your veteran wrestlers while you still have them. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
once they're gone and you don't give them a good send off, it's just going to be sloppy. It's like you don't know what to do with these guys, and some of these guys can still work really well. It's like okay, Randy Orton gets like 12 championship opportunities, but he's so close, but he's not there, ladies and gentlemen. So you're like, okay, so at that point, when you see those top veteran stars in a title match, you already know what the creative decision is. Triple H is like, all right, have Roman Reigns retain. It's gonna look close, but Roman Reigns is gonna retain. So, in my opinion, it's like, what's the point of turning on the TV and watching the main event if Randy Orton's in it for a title, and you know that he's 99% now gonna lose? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think it takes away the good storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing with me about that is that I think he should have won at WrestleMania, but I did hear that like he had some sort of back injury again, and it kind
Mhm.
of did suck because we know Cody Rhodes wasn't supposed to retain, and like it just kind of sucks because Randy Orton, like he was the top babyface in the company for the longest time, and then they added Pat McAfee in there unnecessarily. Nobody really wanted him there, and
No,
Randy Orton would have been the perfect person to take the title off of Cody because, like, there's history there, there's legacy, there's, years of animosity, there's times where Randy was there for Cody, but Cody wasn't there for Randy. Like, it would have been perfect, right? And
Mhm.
how do I say this? I really hope Randy Orton comes back soon because we all know that Cody's going to win that championship back from Sammy. Like, it's a no brainer at this point. But
They over push him. Like I love that he finished his story, but let Rey Mysterio grab the belt. Wouldn't it be awesome if
that's
Rey
right.
Mysterio
Okay,
upsets like
your rage baiting gang. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there,
I'm
bro.
I'm not I'm not trying to rage bait the fans at home, but it's like wouldn't you want something different? We know it's creatively not going to happen. We know because it's Triple H, it's TKO, but it's like okay, you have these top stars. You got Sheamus. It'd be cool to maybe see the Miz get catapulted up to be doing something good, But it's like at the point, what's the point of turning on? I love wrestling at the end of the day, but like, what's the point if you know these stars are going to get pushed to the championship opportunity, but then they're just going to lose every time because we're all about bringing rookies in and like having them be champions or established other newer established guys, which I'm all for it. But why not we just switch it up a little bit and have like a little back and forth ish? Like I don't care if Rey Mysterio wins the title and 2 months later, hey, I'm gonna lose and retire. I don't care about that. I just want him to have him or Sheamus win the IC title for he can be a Grand Slam champion. Just for we can, have a good story going and make it look good with some of these established guys. And it's very tough when you don't do that. So it's like, what's the point if Rey Mysterio is wrestling, but his matches don't? No offense towards Rey Mysterio, you're not moving up in the card. You're not moving down. You're kind of like, Rusev's not doing so well. He's going to job to you tonight. So it's like, okay, cool. We get to see Rey Mysterio do all his moves, win. Doesn't get a title opportunity. It's just, good job, Rey. Good job. You know what I'm saying? It'd be really cool if his son won a world title and he took it from his son. But I think a lot of these guys, I feel like they just don't know what to do. And I think WWE should figure it out fast. Either tell these guys to retire or push them a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Why not have like some of the bigger, newer stars take a little bit of a break? Because they're going to be around for the next 15 years. These guys have 6 months to 2 years left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because we'll conclude with this, right? So, with that being said, like the state of wrestling, because of that exact reason, I feel like it's not in a place where everybody wants it to be. Like, it's kind of
100%.
it's in a boring place. And if we're talking about on the topic of like, well, I'll save that for another video. Um, like there's a lot of wrestlers in different companies that are not really well appreciated for what they do or not appreciated for the things they do
Mm-hmm.
for the company. Like now I've had my criticisms about Chris Jericho, but the thing with him is that like he's doing work where it's taking time away from what that other wrestler can really do. Like Tommaso Ciampa, we seen what he did
Mm-hmm.
in NXT. We seen what he did with Johnny Gargano. We seen what he did like with the NXT title. Like I feel like we're just missing out on a lot of things in the spotlight and in the convenience of other legends. And the difference between let's just say Roman Reigns and the Chris Jericho is that like WWE has tried to display a lot of young talent on TV, but it just didn't work. And Roman Reigns came back and he changed the like trajectory of things. You put Chris Jericho on the TV screen, nobody's probably gonna watch it. No offense to Chris Jericho, he's a legend, but nonetheless, he's somebody where
It's
it's like,
it's
yeah,
it's getting close to time where it's like hang up the boots. Which I'm not gonna lie, did I like everything Chris Jericho did this year? No, but there were some matches like against Ricochet that wasn't bad. But I think sometimes he should put people over. Just like I think Roman Reigns is great on television, but he's too predictable. He wins. He's like that guy that wins a little too much. So it's like, okay, Roman Reigns, big pay-per-view match, 20-minute classic. I can get it down to close to the T. Up some interruption or up a Superman punch, spear, it's over, and Roman Reigns retains. It's getting, and this is no shade at Roman Reigns or Chris Jericho. Love their work. It's just it's too predictable. It's too performance. It would be like how like John Cena was predictable, but like there would be times that he'd let a younger star reverse one of his finishers and hits his finisher and it's over. And you're like, whoa, I didn't think that was happening. I didn't know the writers went with that finish. It was like an oh my gosh situation.
yeah,
And I feel like with Roman Reigns, you can't really see that. Like at WrestleMania 41, I was like, oh, I already know Triple H is going to be like, sorry, Punk, you're going to put a 15 to 30-minute classic on. But remember, make Roman look strong, real strong, and lose. And that's what happened. And I was like, oh, well, I wasted 15 to 30 minutes. Great match. But I was like, oh, Roman Reigns won again. I had a feeling he was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's getting too repetitive, and it's like all these companies with their big stars, it's getting repetitive. Switch it up a little bit. Have the nice young rookie or the guy that's developed or someone that like LA Knight. That would have been nice if LA
Giovanni.
Knight faced Roman Reigns and got the big win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would have been different. You would have never knew it was happening. You would have thought, oh, well, LNA will put on a good match. He's gonna lose tonight. And then when he wins, you're like, oh my gosh, he got the big one. The writers actually did something somebody wanted. And that's no shade at Roman Reigns, great guy on and off the television screen. It's just, you have too much like creative power. And I don't know if that's TKO or Roman Reigns just doesn't want to drop the belt to some certain people. But it's getting to the point where it's too repetitive, and I think that's eventually going to lead to people switching the channel, or you're going to get less pay-per-view buys because you're like, well, Roman Reigns is going to win. Like I thought Sami Zayn was losing, and when Sami Zayn won, it actually wanted me to watch. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? It was like, oh my goodness, regardless where the pay-per-view was, you know, it was actually somewhat surprising. You were like, oh my goodness, this guy that's gotten almost all the way up, kind of like Dolph Ziggler into the United States. I see him. He's not big championship material. He actually finally got the big win, and that's what I think people. Even if it's a 2 week to like a month run, it's different. It's new. It's something that maybe gets my attention from switching the television remote to something else. And I think that's what all these big companies need to like take notes. What we want instead of what you feel. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And yeah, I guess we'll like end on that note. And I do agree with you because like, a lot of companies they don't really care that much anymore. They just rely on like, well, specifically WWE only relies on that one person. But yeah, like I said, we'll end it here. Thank you for joining. Thank to everybody for watching. Happy 4th of
Have a
July.
blessed
I got to go eat and
have a
stuff like
blessed
that.
4th of July.
Yeah. And you too, brother.
God bless everybody.
Thank you
God
for
bless
joining us.
everybody. Have a wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm out.
All
See
right.
ya.
Thank you.